You're listening to the Faeries and Folklore podcast by Ronel. I'm dark fantasy author Ronel Janse van Vuuren. With over a decade of digging around in dusty folklore books, researching creatures of imagination that ignited my curiosity, I'm here to share the folklore in a nutshell and how I reimagine it for my writing in An Origin of the Fae. This is the Faeries and Folklore podcast. Hi, I'm your host Ronel Janse van Vuuren. You can just call me Ronel. In today's episode, we're continuing our exploration of the Fae realm. This episode is brought to you by my Irascible Immortals book series. They've been alive forever. They've been bored for some time. And now they're showing it. Go to ronelthemythmaker.com/my-books/the Irascible Immortals series to learn more. The hosting of this podcast is paid for by my book sales, but you can sponsor my time in creating this podcast by buying me a coffee. Go to buymeacoffee.com/Ronel to support me. This can be a recurring or once-off deal. You can always buy the podcast as audiobooks to help with the hosting. Go to payep.com/Ronel Janse van Vuuren/collection/Faeries and Folklore podcast audiobooks to support me. We're continuing our exploration of the Immortals. Today's Immortal, Dionysus. Folklore in a nutshell by Ronel. Hera's jealousy over her husband's infidelity caused Semele, a mortal lover of Zeus, to be tricked into being killed by a lover when he revealed his true form. Zeus saved the baby who wasn't ready to be born, and he was stitched into Zeus's thigh until he was ready to be born. He was born immortal, a Greek god. Hera's jealousy reared its ugly head again and arranged for the newborn Dionysus to be torn to shreds by Titans. Rhea, Zeus's mother, took pity on him and reconstituted him so he came back to life. Persephone then took him to a mortal royal couple to rear him as their own. Of course, Hera being Hera caused madness in the royal family, and Dionysus had to be removed for his own safety. Hermes turned him into a lamb or a kid and gave him to nymphs in Mount Nysa to take care of. It is here that he learned about viticulture and created wine. Hera cursed Dionysus with madness once he was grown. He traveled the world, bringing grapevines and the cultivation of wine where he went, and persuaded women to party with him. Because of how he acted, and because of the wine, he was called the drunken god. Many temples celebrating him were found in the ancient world. Revels were held in his honor, and sometimes human sacrifices were made in his temples. Dionysus were followed around by Maenads, female followers who danced and were intoxicated and raving mad. They were known to be violent in their devotion to Dionysus, even going so far as committing murder. Those in the cult went wild during their revels in the woods, ripping to shreds any animal they came across and eating it raw. It's not clear when or if he regained his sanity. At some point he came across Ariadne after Theseus abandoned her. She sacrificed everything to help him kill the Minotaur, and Dionysus and Ariadne fell in love and got married. They had many famous children together. He was either depicted as an older bearded god or an effeminate long-haired youth. He was usually accompanied by Maenads and satyrs, seen wearing an ivy crown or fruiting grapevines, holding a drinking cup and riding a panther. His Roman counterpart is Bacchus. He is known as the god of wine, viticulture, the grapevine, vegetation, fertility, intoxication, ritual madness, merriment, festivals, and more. His main mission was to bring an end to care and worry through drink and merriment. Whatever he is called, women love him and men wish they were him. And now for my interpretation of the Fae, in An Origin of the Fae, Dionysus. This guy loves to party. He looks like his university age, maybe 22, and is quite attractive. He's charming, persuasive, and the kind of guy everyone likes. He can look older if he wants to, but has found that young people have more stamina to party all the time. He's the god of wine and ecstasy. Maenads still follow him around after all this time. Some have become immortal in a way. Dionysus stays away from Olympus and his stepmother, who still hates his guts. He has a good relationship with his siblings, especially Apollo. Whenever Dionysus is at a party, it is sure to be a rager. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode of the Faeries and Folklore podcast, and that you've learned something new about fairy. Remember that you can get a transcript of this episode in the description. If you're new to the podcast, why not go and grab your free copy of Unseen, the second book in the fairy tale series, on my website, ronelthemythmaker.com. Loads of folklore, magic, and danger await. Take care. Subscribe for books and folklore.